So hello, thank you for joining Urban News. My name is Kay, and you would just like to introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Chief Dwayne Yellowfeather Shepherd. I'm a chief with the tribe of the uh, Pocasset Wampanoag of the Pokanoket Nation, and we're from the Watuppa Pond Reservation in Fall River, Massachusetts. But I'm presently in Los Angeles right now.
Nice. So, as I was doing my research, I found out that you are the descendant of Bruce's Beach.
Yes, I'm one of the extended family of the descendants. Anthony Bruce, the great great grandson who's spearheading this quest to get the land back, is my cousin,
Mm.
and I am the historian and spokesman for the four genealogical lines of the Bruce family around the United States.
Nice. So thank you so much for speaking with me today. I have so many questions that I would like to get answered from you.
Okay.
And I appreciate you even actually speaking with us today. I know this is a big topic that's been going on for quite some time in the news. And it's actually a lot of people haven't, don't really know about the history of Bruce's Beach. So do you mind just sharing a quick synopsis of what Bruce's Beach is and who and how you are descendant of it?
Yeah, Bruce's Beach is a was a black resort in Manhattan Beach, California. In 1912, our matriarch, Willa Bruce, and her husband, Charles Aaron Bruce, bought the property for $1,200. It was right down on the water, prime real estate. She had one lot, and then one of the whites kindly sold her the next lot, the lot next door to her, for $10 so that they could do, I think that was probably the first instance of white flight. They started out with a lemonade stand or a hot dog stand, something there, something very, very minute, and then they built it up to eventually having a restaurant with a dance hall on the second floor. They had a bathhouse there, and they rented bathing suits, and they sold water novelties like tubes and boards and things of that nature. They had a number of social events from the black politicians and black socialites of the Central Avenue area in South Los Angeles back in the day, and they were very prominent business people at that time, black business people at that time, in pretty much a white enclave. There were some other black families that moved in the area as well. By 1920, I think that the Ku Klux Klan and maybe the surrounding neighborhood, because that's usually local in nature
Mhm.
with the Ku Klux Klan, began to start seething because I think they started seeing the intermixing of the races there. Because we never called it a black beach,
Mhm.
they designated it a black beach, but of course, where blacks go, whites like to follow. So they were
Mhm.
there as well. And so they started a 24-hour threat campaign terrorizing Willa Bruce and Charles. Charles was gone most of the time because he worked for the railroad. So, really they're brutalizing and terrorizing a black woman that's alone running a
Mm.
business. Um, so they had the 24-hour terrorism campaign. They slashed tires. They burned a mattress under the porch of the building. They burned crosses on other people's lawns and yards there. Um, and they put in 10-minute parking signs where so when people came to the beach, they only had 10 minutes to park there, otherwise they would be given a ticket. They cordoned off the racist landowner who originally owned the property, put up no trespassing signs right in front of the resort so that the patrons could not get in the water right in front of the resort. They had to walk a half mile to the north or south of the resort to even get into the water to enjoy the water there. That still did not deter the people, did not deter Charles and Willa Bruce and her family and their family, and it did not deter the patrons.
Mhm.
And pretty much they fought back. There were swim-ins by the NAACP and a number of other events, in protest of how they were being treated. By so when all this didn't work, the Ku Klux Klan enlisted the help of the Manhattan Beach City Council and the Manhattan Beach Police Department, who we believe had some members that were members of the Ku Klux Klan, which is usually the case.
Mhm.
And they decided to have the property condemned and to take it in eminent domain, and for the under the pretenses that they were going to build a park there. Uh, they Charles and Willa Bruce fought it. They were asking $35,000 per lot by that time. They had business enterprises there, and they wanted $50,000 in punitive damages for Manhattan Beach not defending them against the terrorist acts of the Ku Klux Klan. They eventually got a settlement for only $14,125, with the promise that they could come back to Manhattan Beach under the threat of terrorism of the Ku Klux Klan and buy land elsewhere in Manhattan Beach. To add insult to injury, they didn't get that settlement for 3 years after they left Manhattan Beach. And of course, there was no consideration of bringing their family back into that hellhole. So they left there. They ended up working in diners as cooks for other people on the east side of Los Angeles. Willa died sadly 5 years later from the stress. And from that loss, Charles died 2 years after that, and we lost them. And so the lot sat there for 30 years, overgrown and unused. And then some smart cookie realized, well, hey, if we don't put a park here, you people took this thing 30 years ago from these people can come back and get their land back. Well, they did finally put a park there in 1957, named it a few different names. In 2007, the only black mayor ever in Manhattan Beach decided that they wanted to do something to celebrate the history of the African American owners of that beach there, who they were pretty much the founders of Manhattan Beach,
Right.
And the precursor to the famous Venice Beach Boardwalk. There was no such thing, and so we're pretty sure that would have been probably the first place that something like that would have been. So he fought the city council, and in a lopsided vote, he eventually did get them to put up a plaque, acknowledging the Bruce family, but it was full of lies, celebrating people who were racist, and some of the very people, George Peck, the owner, who put the no trespassing signs up, celebrating people like that. But it was the first step, at least recognizing that we had a presence there. The issue is that the park is not where our land was. Our land is owned by the County of Los Angeles, right down on the shore, and it has a county lifeguard training facility there. So all this time, people are thinking that entire area that is the park is our land. It's not. That's what's owned by Manhattan Beach. What's owned by the County of Los Angeles is where our land is, down on the coast. So the County of Los Angeles, the supervisor Janice Hahn, has stepped up and apologized for what happened to us, and has spearheaded an effort to have the county return the land to our ownership.
Oh, okay. So when the land was first taken away, back in the early 1900s, were there any other descendants that tried to get it back after Willard passed away?
No. Their grandson Bernard Bruce, he constantly fought for it up until just this past year, and then he handed it off to his great grandson to continue the fight. And so all the documents are in his possession and in the possession of our legal team now. So he did fight for it. It was, traumatic situation. These people have been terrorized, and lived in fear of their lives. They didn't know what the reach of the Ku Klux Klan was. These people are from southern states. Willa was a descendant of slaves. And so, they're well aware of the viciousness of the white man in this country. And so, for this incident has been handed down generation after generation after generation in the way of trauma.
Very traumatic.
Yeah, and it still affects the family, to the youngest members of the family. Yes.
Right. I could definitely see that, because, this was something that was able to bring in generational wealth for families to come. And now you guys had to be, it was a step back due to them taking away the beaches, and also trying to put up, signs to get the patrons away and not be able to come. Because you said there was a lot of different shops there on the beach. It was like a resort as well, right? So people would come in.
For us, there wasn't any other business enterprises there but us. And this is what made them quite jealous. Our people were there thriving, the descendants of slaves, and they had this thriving enterprise there. So of course, this matter of history in this country, whites are very jealous at the progress of African Americans in this country. Through our talent and our music and everything else, they try to usurp and make it their own. And so this was no different. They wanted that out of there, because it, was a bad example to the other whites in the neighborhood that blacks are here thriving and we're pretty much not doing anything. So
Mm-hmm.
so there were other black families there too that also lost their property. So yeah, that was pretty traumatic, and
Wow.
we are still hurting from it, and we want justice for our family.
As you guys should rightfully own, especially I don't know if you guys want to like to talk about this, but are you guys receiving any reparations
No,
after
no,
all
no,
the
no. We're asking. We're not asking for reparations. That's a whole nother issue. That's for the black diaspora as a whole. What we're asking for specifically because of criminal acts is
Mhm,
restitution for the loss of that loss of revenue from their businesses for 96 years. That generational wealth that we are missing, we want that back from Manhattan Beach. We want our
mhm,
land restored to us, and we want those punitive damages paid to us with interest over the past 96 years. So this
mhm.
is specific to our family to get justice for what was the damage that's been done to our family.
Right. Are you Los Angeles native as well, or are you outside of Los
I'm, I'm,
Angeles?
a, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
I grew up here in Los Angeles. My mother was an entertainer. She brought us here in 1956, and I've been here pretty much ever since, except for a couple of stints back in Detroit when I worked for Coleman Young as his director of youth services there in the 80s. And then I also bi-coastal because my reservation is there in Fall River, Massachusetts, the Watauga Pond Reservation there. And this is not my first fight for land. We fought for land there in Rhode Island and got land repatriated as well to the
Oh,
tribe.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's in your bloodline. So you guys had more different properties in different states.
Well, no, the that I'm a chief on my father's side of the family. They were Pocasset and Nipmuc Indians. On my mother's side of the family, which
Mhm.
is the Bruce side of the family, we're Mississippi Choctaw.
Wow. So how did you come about knowing this information? Was this like information passed down? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of African Americans we don't really know our um history going back to what happened. When once we got to slavery, we kind of a lot of our history was demolished or lost. So how were you able
Yeah.
to figure out like what tribe your family is from, or was it passed
Well,
down as in history in your
it,
family?
it was to a certain extent passed down on both sides of the family. Our grandmothers, my great grandmother and my grandmother on my father's side, constantly whenever I came home to visit, would tell me the history of my family and that we were, they thought at one time we were Cherokee Indians on the Bruce
Mm,
family side, but I found testimony of our family members to the United States government when they were trying to get their land back, and they gave the entire family tree history. And so our people were so light skinned because they were indigenous people here
mhm.
that people actually thought in our family that they were white and that we were descendants of white Bruces. As it turns out, they were Mississippi Choctaw and they were three-quarter Choctaw and one-quarter African American, which I was elated to hear. Uh,
Mm,
so, um, so I started doing research when Ancestry, when they started digitizing documents, when that started coming along, well, about
mhm,
20 years ago or so, and there was a big push on digitizing all the documents in the United States, Smithsonian and other places. And then the Mormons had a lot of documents as well. It became easier rather than trying to travel around the country to research documents, census records, and birth records, and the slave master's records of who he had. Well, usually it wasn't a who, but at least the number of slaves and the ages of the slaves, and it's painstakingly trying to match them up with people, in your family. And
mhm.
then also DNA has helped a lot. So a lot of our family has gotten their DNA done, and we're matching up on Ancestry.com and on GEDmatch.com as well.
That's amazing. So your family, I've seen it was different historian books about Bruce's Beach and things that happened in the past. Will there be can we expect anything in the future something similar to like Roots or like a series breaking down the history of your family?
Yeah, I think that you will probably see something like that in the very near future. People are asking us to do series, and people want to
Yeah.
do documentaries. We're fielding a lot of inquiries, and we're looking at the inquiries and seeing what best fits what the family wants to be done. And I'm sure that there's going to be something like that for sure. This is a story that everybody in the world is looking at right now, not just the
Yes.
United States. So so people are interested, and they're very interested in the outcome, with Supervisor Hahn asking the county, I think tomorrow, to address the issue and to move forward with a study on how that can be done to return the land to our family, which is very important because otherwise the fight would be a lot harder at this
Hmm.
point because Manhattan Beach consistently has told us they're not giving us a damn thing. And I've been consistently telling them, yes, you will.
And this is
And if
present day that they said they're not giving you anything.
oh yeah, oh
Mhm.
yeah. That's been going on.
Wow.
Kavan Ward started the Justice for Bruce Beach protest back in Juneteenth of last year, and before the Bruce family could even say what we wanted, they were telling the public, we're not giving those people any damn thing. That
Hmm.
anything that they would think that they were going to get from us, that's not happening. Well, I think that they better start adjusting their budgets because it's about to happen.
It's going to happen. And plus, we're in a day and age where a lot of young Black adults, we have social platforms where we can speak on these issues. And
Hmm.
we're able to, tell them that this is wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to go out without a fight. So you
Right.
have the public's best interest, you have your family's best interest. So they have no choice but to hopefully give in.
Yes.
And you already said they're not trying to budge at all.
No,
Or
they're not
they,
trying to budget. No, they had a sham task force to study the issue of the history of Brewster's Beach. Their own public servants there, the people that work for them, did a study. They realized that all of the events did happen. Then they decided not to apologize because of a few conservatives in the city, racist conservatives, I might say, are trying to say that the city's not racist and there's no need to apologize, and apologizing would be an admission of guilt and that we could sue them. We're going to sue them anyway. So
Mhm.
that's not going to help them. So they decided to just do an acknowledgement and then hope that we would forgive them. That's not going to happen either. I'm not going to forgive someone who terrorized my family. I mean, you wanted forgiveness, you should ask them for it. And I'm sure it
Exactly.
wouldn't have been forthcoming from them either. So it's not forthcoming from us. We are forgiving and loving people in our family. But in this case, justice must be done before there's going to be any forgiveness. And I don't know how you get justice for terrorism that happened to your family at the hands of Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, trauma,
Yes,
traumatic. So,
right.
is there anything that we can do to at least help in the situation
Well,
of the
yeah,
public?
you can go to the Instagram page, Justice for Bruce's Beach, and there's a Facebook page called Justice for Bruce's Beach.
Hmm.
There are some there, and I think Color of Change has a page too, Justice for Bruce's Beach, and there are what do you call them? Things that you sign, petitions that you sign to help us out. There are the names of all the county supervisors who are going to be voting tomorrow up there that you can email them and encourage them to give justice to the Bruce family and return the land to us in a fair manner. And, just be outspoken and spread the word about what's going on. Make sure that everybody knows it because we could be the precursor to or the precedent for this to
Hmm.
happen to other cities all around the United States
And
where
pretty
Black
sure,
people have been disenfranchised.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's so many families that have been fighting for years that we don't even know their history about, even in the South, even in the North. There's so many that's probably, that don't even know where to start. So,
Yeah, well, it was a conspiracy at that time to do that
hmm,
because at the same time, Tulsa happened,
yeah.
Empire, Wyoming. It was happening all over the United States. So it
It
was
was
it
Seneca
was
Village in
systemic.
New York City too. If you're
Yeah,
familiar with that story.
absolutely. Yes, I am. And so it was a systemic conspiracy to do
Hmm.
this to African Americans all around this country. To
Hmm.
keep us on the run. Like we are now. We're through gentrification, we're on the run again. Our
Yep.
people are homeless in the streets. You can't believe what it looks like here in the city of Los Angeles. It's like the day after we were released from slavery. Nowhere to go.
Nowhere
Nobody
to go.
offering you a job. No resources, and there's no help.
Hmm.
Nobody paying attention to the little man here.
And I wanted to ask you too, because you're very educated on this topic, and you've seen, like, you definitely can tell that you read and you know what you're talking about. You kind of like a threat to society. You being a Black man who isn't ignorant to any of the laws.
Mhm.
Have you received any like threats or anything that was a danger to your family since then, since speaking out?
No, I have quite the reputation, and nobody has dared threaten me. We sent a message to Manhattan Beach City Council that when you go low, the Bruce family stands toe to toe. And so, therefore, you want to threaten people, I'll meet you anywhere you want to be met. You come to my house throwing firebombs or whatever, you're going to meet return fire. So therefore, they already understand that. They can tell by the way that I talk that I'm no punk. You don't want to be messing around with me.
No.
I'm one of these guys. I'm not praying for you. I'm praying you go to hell. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. You have to stand like that because they want you to be afraid. They took
It's the
this
only
man.
thing it's the only thing they understand.
Yep.
Forgiving them and praying for them and all that nonsense. That's for people who are in a situation where they don't know what they're doing. These people are evil. They know what they're doing. They know they're not superior, and the only way they can show superiority is with force. Because
Yes.
nobody believes that they're superior, and so they are enemies of God. And when you're an enemy of God, you don't win.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the Black Lives Matter movement, especially recently with the situation with Dante Wright?
Well, whenever people get in the street and do something in an organized manner is always good. I'm a child of the 60s movement. These are the things that we did, and so, and what I like about it is that when something happens in one city, we're starting to see unity now. That was the one thing missing from our people for a few decades here,
Mhm.
is that we didn't have that unity. But now we're starting to see unity among young people and even young people of other races joining in and helping to bring focus on what's happening to our people in this country. And so when it happens in one city, all the cities rise up and protest. All not just here in America, but all around the world. They're not
Mhm.
covering it, but it's happening in England and other places where there are
Yeah.
large black populations, in France and whatever. They're just not covering it. They're trying to make the movements very minute now. They're realizing that giving it the coverage is giving it more power to move forward
Mhm.
and to grow. So yeah, and so I'm proud of my young people. I thank them for their service to us.
Mm.
Everybody's always thanking the military for their service. Going around the country, going around the world, murdering other people of color. Including some of our people included in those atrocities. But
Right.
nobody ever thanks our young people for their service of getting smoked, bombed, and hit with rubber bullets and gassed and beaten with batons and dragged into jail and all
Mm.
these other things that are happening to them. Well, so who thanks them? Well, I'm thanking you, and hopefully your people will stand up and be proud enough and have enough moral to thank you for what you're doing on their behalf too. Whether they like it or not, you're watching our backs.
Mhm. I agree. I agree 100%. 100%. So before we end this interview, I want to just reiterate you said before that we could go to the Instagram page and go to Justice for Bruce's Beach to sign a petition on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes,
Okay.
Justice
Um,
Justice for Bruce's Beach, Facebook and Instagram,
and
and Color of Change, I believe, has a petition, and then there's a vote on the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors tomorrow, so people can go to their website and probably listen in, and they can also uh, email the supervisors there and encourage them to please vote for justice for the Bruce family and return Bruce's Beach to their possession.
Oh yes, definitely. We're gonna definitely when I upload this video, I'll put all the information in there. And I also put it on our Instagram page as well. So that way we can have our followers go and sign a petition. Because we definitely need you guys to get this back. This is terrible what they're doing. They're taking land that was already yours and trying to claim it as their own. We can't allow that anymore. We can't get bullied
No,
anymore. We have to end this generational trauma that we have since slavery days. We gotta
yes,
make sure that you guys are able to own what's rightfully yours. So
absolutely. We're not trying to take anything from the residents of Manhattan Beach. All we want is what's rightfully ours. And if
mm.
they were in the same position, they'd be raising more hell than us.
More, more hell. But it's just because of our color of our tone, it's always like we're
Right.
starting trouble, but we're really not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, we have to be a little bit more measured in how we say things, and how
hmm
we do things, because of course they will give maximum retaliation through the power of their police department to come out and smash us, and go digging
hmm
around in our Facebook pages and emails and things of that nature, trying to dig up dirt on us, and digging around in our telephones. So, they have a lot of resources that we don't have access to. But the main thing is that, we're upstanding people. We're only asking for what was rightfully ours. We're not trying to change the look of Manhattan Beach or anything else. We just want our land back.
when you're right. Exactly. And do you guys have any plans of what you would like to do once you get the land back?
No, there's several options on the table.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
they could just outright give it back to us. We could take it and then rent it back to the county of Los Angeles, or they could just pay us for the land and then we just walk away. You know, and given the climate down there in Manhattan Beach, that's going to be a decision that's going to have to be weighed heavily by consultation with all of us in the family and with our legal team.
All right. Good luck. Good luck with that. We'll be
Thank you.
watching tomorrow. Make sure that you guys are, hopefully get your land back. I think you guys, I have high hopes that you guys will,
Yeah,
but
the support is there worldwide and even
mhm.
locally. You know, we think we have the votes in the state legislature because there's some laws that have to be changed in order for the county to give us the land back. So we're sure that we have the pretty sure that we have the support there, and we have the support in on the LA County supervisors as well. So we're very hopeful that this is going to happen real soon for us.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. I really appreciate it so much. This is a horrific story, but it needs to be told, and we need to be able to fight and stand back. I mean, and stand tall for you guys to get your land back.
Thank
So
you.
again, I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much for speaking with me today.
And we appreciate you and our young people as well. Thank you very much for having
No,
me.
thank you. No problem. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye bye.